Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the house out here at St. Bernard Acres. Gonna try to make a little more progress today. This is Sunday, the 20th of October. Today's goal is to finish up the wiring here around the front room and kitchen area. Clean up, get everything cleaned up. Get all the insulation staged in here to get ready. And also address a concern that Teddy had about nailers in the walls that I've added. And I'll explain that later as we get into this. But the main thing is to finish up the electric, get everything out of here that I'm not going to be using in the next phase, and get ready for Gail to come out with me, or come out next Saturday, and then I'll have the extra outlets or boxes I need, and I need 14-3 wire for my two-way switches that I'm putting in here. But we'll see how it goes. It's supposed to be another beautiful day, maybe a little hot, so I'm getting an early start if I can. We'll see where I wind up at. Alright, so I'm at the back wall here of the building. This is going to be the living room area. And I have a receptacle right here that I'm going to start at. But somewhere in this wall is going to be an opening for a hallway when I put the addition on. After I get this completed in here to where it's livable in here, I'll start working on the addition. But that way, we could live in here if we wanted to while the addition is being built. And it would make life a whole lot easier if I could live out here permanently. The problem is getting a couple days a week, when I don't have other issues going on. But this receptacle that's going in here is the end of the circuit. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start here, bring my wire through there. It's going to be the end. Then I'm going to go over to that receptacle. There'll be two wires coming out over, and work my way to the kitchen area to join that circuit down there. So these are just a few extra outlets on the circuit. And like I said, this one will terminate it. Then I'll go work on the other side and run it down that way. So let me get going here. All right, since this is rough-in wiring, I'm not going to be putting in the outlets or attaching them or wiring them or anything. All I'm doing is running the wire, putting them out the box so that these cavities can all be insulated. Now, these walls I'm going to insulate. If I had the addition on, I wouldn't have to. I don't insulate interior walls. But I'm going to insulate it now because we're going to be in here before the addition's on. So these boxes have knockouts in the back where wire comes in. Since that's my terminator, I'm only going to put one wire in there. But on this one, let me knock out the plastic that covers the holes. I'm going to start from this one, since this ends the circuit. Kind of tough going through these corners. You can see we kept hitting nails from the siding and the trim on the outside. What I'm going to do is come along here and put metal plates over these holes so when I'm screwing in my drywall, I don't accidentally go through it. I got these far enough that I can use drywall screws here and not have to worry about a plate. But there I'm going to have to. And I have to leave enough sticking out that I can work with it all and get all my wires. That's more than enough to stick out, but that's what I've got through there. And then this one is going to come down. I'm going to cut it right about here. Put a staple on here to make sure that I don't pull this out through here or pull it the other way out. There won't be any chance of dislodging these wires. That one's ready to go. This is the end of the circuit. It's ready. So I come over here. So on this one, I have to have 2 wires coming in because the receptacle is going to have the wires on one side to continue on around the wall, the wires on the other side to continue down to where the circuit starts at. So from here on out, everything will have 2 wires coming out of it. And again, I'll pull down what I need. Now you see how I have 2 wires coming out of here. And also, I'm going to staple in here, and I'm going to staple these 2 together. Running out of staples. I hope I have enough to complete this. But I can put the 2 of these together. This one is going to be a long run here. This is all going to be cabinets. Sink base, cabinet base, drawer base. I'm not going to have a need for electricity behind this. I'm not putting in a garbage disposal. So if I was, I would put an outlet under the sink, but I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to come from this point, run my wire all the way down to that one. And then I have to do a separate one for these GFI outlets. So let me get this one run through. These two outlets that are up higher this is above an 18-inch drawer base and above the sink base over there. So these have to be GFI sockets because, you know, they're around moisture. They could get water. So the ground fault interrupt. They can come off because there's only a couple of them. They can come off the same circuit. It's just the receptacles have to be protected, whereas these don't. So these are going to be wired together on their own and then come out to this receptacle here to join the circuit. And I'm going to run the wire through the same holes that I already drilled. I could, you know, there's no point drilling all these out to run it straight across. I'll just bring it down and up and we'll be good. So let me feed this through to that one. Again, it's a 20 amp circuit, so I can still use the 12-2 wire. It's just the receptacles have to have the ground fault. You can put GFCI breakers in the box, and they've got new breakers you can put in the box that are like uber expensive. If this whole circuit was going to be needing the GFI type breakers, I could just put the circuit breaker in the box and run it that way, I believe. But only being a couple of them, it's not necessary. Alright guys, that's the end of this part of the video. You don't have to watch me do it again on the other side. I'm going to start cleaning everything up now. I'm putting away all the tools, and there's a lot of them that I'm not going to be using anymore. And get it all swept up, get it all cleaned out. Then I'll be back and stage my insulation. Alright folks, I'm finished with the wiring in the walls. Everything is done, ready for insulation. I still have a little bit to do in the ceiling, but I need Gail out here. She's going to have to decide where she wants lights, where she wants ceiling fans, what kind of lights, where, you know, what kind of, we need to get the outside lights for the front and back doors. that kind of stuff. I'm not going to make those decisions. Gail's going to make those decisions. And I have to get some 14-3 wire anyway because I've got a couple of two-way switches I'm going to be installing. So I got it to the point where all the walls can be insulated now. That's what Gail wants to do. So she'll be out here next weekend. And once the installation's in, we can start doing the walls. Now, next weekend, I'll finish up the ceiling part of what I've got to run. Finish up all the collar ties in there so I can start insulating the ceiling next weekend as well. So that phase of this building should be done. This is what I've got left out of a spool of 250 feet of 12-2 wire. That's all I have left. Something I need to reiterate to y'all and be clear about, and in no uncertain terms. I am not, in no way, shape, or form, a certified electrician. This is not a how to do something video as much as it is how Joe does video. I am very confident in my abilities to do this because I've studied on it. I built the cabin, I wired all the cabin, did the service panel in it. Then I ran the wire from the pole down the road. We buried 300 feet of wire to a transformer box at the front of my property. I put in my own meter base, my 200 amp disconnect, got all that service set up. I did that. I ran that from the disconnect to the cabin, and that's all wired. I've never had a problem. It's been a year now. I ran the wire from the service panel all the way, or the meter box all the way up in the front, 300 feet back here to the barn, buried all of that cable, wired up the barn. It's all working just fine. We have no issues. And I have the wire to come into this house. Once I get to that point, I want to do that. So I feel confident in what I'm doing. If you don't feel confident in what you're doing, don't do it. Electricity is not a joke. And I don't want anybody trying to say, my house burnt down because Joe told me to do it this way. Joe has the unique benefit of being out here and not having to deal with inspectors. I'm not going to have to call the county and get an electrical inspection. I'm not going to have to call and get a plumbing inspection. I'm not going to have to call and get framing, none of that. I don't have those. The only thing that needs a permit and inspection is the septic system and the well. Other than that, I don't have those. I'm fortunate that I don't have those restrictions. But if you don't feel confident in what you're doing, call somebody. Get somebody in there. Get a certified electrician in there to do it. Now, I'm going to hook up this service panel for the house, but I want to do it when Bobby's next door. Bobby's a builder. He's a certified electrician. And he'll come over when I do that, and he'll say, yep, that's how you do it, or nope, you need to do this. That way, I am even more confident. I know my limitations. Running your circuits and running all your electrical outlets and switches is not that difficult. It's hard, but it's hard because I got old bones and I got old knees and I got an old back. So it's a pain in the ass. If I was 40 years younger, I'd have breezed through this stuff. So, all you guys bitch about me taking my time. Trust me. I don't mind. I'm in no time crunch here. I don't have to, it's not like I have to move. I own my house in Wheeling, right? I have to work in Wheeling. I have to maintain that house and maintain the family. So I have to work out here with a limited amount of time and a limited budget. So no complaining if it takes me longer than it would take you if you were living out here and had all kinds of people sending you money to do stuff. I don't do that. I'll take my time. I want this part in here to be livable if we wanted it to be. Then I could move out here permanently and do the addition to it. That will go very fast if I'm living out here, and every day I can work on it. Right now I get a couple days a week that I can do. So that explains that. But yeah, I feel very good. I mean, I got, all the wiring is what I wanted to do this weekend. It's done. Now I'm going to clean up, get everything out of here that is not needed next weekend when we do the insulation, because I can't work in a pigsty. Everything has to be cleaned up and put away, and then I'll be ready for next weekend. Some of the tools I'm going to go put in the barn. Yes, I will be using them next weekend, but until I need them, they're out of the way. That's how you work. Clean up your mess behind you. When you're done for the day, clean up your workstation. I preached that for 40 years. Right? If you punch out at 4 o'clock, stop working at 3:50 and clean your workstation for the next shift. Right? For 40 years I yelled about that shit, and people still didn't understand, the need for doing that. But I'm going to clean everything up now. And Teddy asked a question on part 1 of this about nailers. I'm going to show you what he means by nailers and how I plan to address it. I had already planned to address it, but his sharp eye noticed it and pointed it out just in case I had forgot about it. So thank you for watching the video, and thank you for asking about that and bringing that to my attention in case I forgot. Right? Now, like I said, I know tons of people are going to be able to nitpick every little thing I did running this wiring. But it works, so I don't care. And you might tell me something I did wrong. If you see something I did wrong, then tell me. If it's something that absolutely has to be fixed, I want to do it. So I'm not complaining if people, say I did something wrong. That's how I learn. But let me show you what Teddy meant by nailers, and I'll show you how I plan to address that and save money by doing it my way instead of the conventional way. So I'll be right back. So what do I mean by a nailer? This is stuff I've added on. If I was framing this whole thing from the beginning, I could address that as I'm doing the framing. This is add-on stuff. I could have addressed, but I didn't want to waste. I ran out of 2x4s because Alex, he took all my 2x4s. But what a nailer is, I added this wall up against this wall. So this stud happened to fall between 2 of the studs on this wall. So when I run my drywall across here, or my wall across here, there's nothing to nail this side to. Same problem over here. I bring the drywall across, there's nothing to nail to. So I have to have nails. The conventional way of doing it is when you lay out the wall, you have it marked where you're going to put another wall, where a wall is going to be branching off of that, and you put an extra 2 studs in here so that this goes between those studs. You would have this, you want to keep everything 16 inches on center. So I can't move this, or I can't move this one, because I want to keep everything 16 inches on center. When I do the outside of that wall, I want everything to be where it is. So in here, I need something to nail the wall to. Instead of cutting 2 more 2x4s and running them in and toenailing them in, or you could take a 2x6 and put it back behind this and nail it in. But that's a whole piece of lumber, and that ain't cheap. I'm going to show you my way that I'm going to put my nailers in. I have a whole bunch, from all the floor joists and everything I did, pieces of 2x8. Tons of it. So if I slide this in here, like so, put that in, get my nail gun, it doesn't have to be exact. Now, get another piece. Didn't quite have that one centered, but you get the picture. Now, when I bring my drywall over, or my wall, whatever it is, I have something to screw it to or nail it to. That's a nailer. That's where I can bring this wall and this wall together. And it's all screwed in and tight. You want your end to have a lot of screws in it. But that's how I plan to address this. And I'll show you on where I tied into an existing wall. Let me turn the camera around. So on this wall, on this side of the wall, I have the same problem. This is existing. And I have something I can nail to over there, because I happen to land close to that 2x4 that they did on the original building. But I can do the exact same thing. I take this scrap piece of wood and I'm going to put it up in there. And there we go. It's way bigger than what I need, but I have a whole lot of these pieces. And I only have 3 walls that I have to put nailers in. So that's how I'm going to address the nailing issue, or the nailer issue. Thank you, Teddy, for pointing it out. That concludes the rough-in wiring of my shed-to-house conversion here. Make sure to watch for the videos next weekend because it's going to be insulation time. And a little bit more rough-in wiring of lights in the ceiling. But the hard stuff's done. Everything can get insulated now. I appreciate y'all watching. I appreciate your comments. And I'm going to clean up now. I'm not going to make you watch that. You're not going to... No point in me shooting video of cleanup. But again, I got to get it all cleaned up. And that's my next part. And I'm done. I've got a couple videos to shoot for reviews, which I don't mind doing because one of them is a really nice knife the company sent me to do a giveaway with. A very nice folder. Top of the line stuff, folks. So watch for that video to be coming out in the next week or so. But this concludes my rough-in wiring of my house. Again, this ain't how you do it, this is how I do it. But this is a DIY thing. I mean, you can do it. Something, you know, this part of it. You know, this whole thing is about DIY and trying to save money everywhere I can. If I can give you ideas to help you save money, we're good to go. But this is Joe out here in the house, the shed-to-house conversion. And I'm getting ready to close it up. So everybody have a fine week coming up, and I'll do a couple videos during the week maybe if I can. I will talk to y'all later. I'm out.